The legend started with a name whispered in online forums: the Dark Web King. No one knew his real face, but everyone who traded in secrets, guns, or drugs online heard of him. He ran one of the biggest underground markets the internet had ever seen. His empire stretched across continents, hiding in the shadows of the web. He built his reputation on trust and fear. Sellers and buyers flocked to his site for anonymity and safety. The king charged fees for every illegal deal. He grew rich, as others risked everything. Rumor said he could vanish servers in seconds, slip away before anyone got close. In online chat rooms, he was both a myth and a menace. The police called him a top target. His market moved millions of dollars in drugs, weapons, and stolen data. He was untouchable, until a team of detectives decided to change the game. This was not just about stopping crime. It was about proving that no one, not even the king, ruled the dark web forever. The chase that followed would push law enforcement far beyond traditional policing. To catch him, they'd have to think like hackers. They'd have to outsmart the master of deception and risk everything to bring him down. To understand the king's power, you have to know the dark web. Most people use the surface web every day. That's Google, social media, and news sites. But below this, there's a hidden layer called the deep web. This is where private emails, bank records, and medical files live. Not for public eyes. Then, there's the dark web. It's a secret part of the internet, only reachable using special software like Tor. Tor hides your identity and location. Sites on the dark web have strange addresses, full of random letters and numbers. Here, people can talk, buy, or sell without showing who they are. This hidden world is not illegal by itself. Some use it for privacy or free speech, but it's also where criminals gather. Drug dealers, hackers, and, worse, use the dark web to trade in things the normal web won't allow. Police can't just search it like a city street. It's more like a twisting maze, full of locked doors. The king understood this maze better than almost anyone. He made a fortune selling to people who trusted his site's privacy. To bring him down, police had to enter his world and beat him at his own game. For years, reports piled up on police desks: overdose deaths linked to drugs bought online, weapons shipped in innocent-looking packages, stolen data sold to identity thieves. Again and again, the same marketplace kept coming up, owned by the dark web king. Authorities from around the world joined forces. The United States FBI, Europol, and cybercrime units from Germany, Australia, and the United Kingdom formed a secret task force. They wanted to stop the flow of illegal goods. But more than that, they wanted to show the king was not invincible. Investigators started slowly. They watched the king's market day and night. They mapped out how money and messages moved through the site. They tracked patterns. When the site was busiest, what kinds of products sold fastest, and how the king handled disputes. Every click left a trace. Every message might reveal a clue. But the king was careful. He used fake names, encrypted chats, and servers hidden in countries with weak laws. The police knew this would not be a quick arrest. They were hunting a ghost. Police needed new tricks for this digital hunt. Traditional surveillance would not work. Instead, cybercops used software tools to watch the king's site without being noticed. They set up fake accounts and posed as buyers and sellers. Sometimes they even bought illegal products as evidence. Behind the scenes, technical experts searched for weak spots. They looked for mistakes in how the king set up his servers. Sometimes a tiny flaw, a forgotten update, a broken link, could reveal an IP address. That's like finding a street address in a city of shadows. Every detail mattered. The task force also studied how payments moved. Most deals used cryptocurrency, like Bitcoin, to hide money trails. But with careful analysis, detectives tracked coins as they hopped from wallet to wallet. They saw patterns that even the king missed. The work was slow and frustrating. The king moved servers often and changed his habits. But little by little, police collected information. They were quietly building a net. When the moment was right, they would close it, and the king would have nowhere to run. The big break came when police decided to get closer. They created undercover identities, building trust with the king's inner circle. These deep covers spent months becoming trusted vendors and buyers. One officer even became a moderator for the site, handling disputes and warning the king of supposed threats. Inside, they learned how the king managed his empire. He used strict security, but even he had to trust someone. The undercover cops saw how he communicated when he logged in, and how he moved money. They started to guess his time zone, even his sleeping habits. The police also launched a digital attack. With a judge's order, they secretly hacked a small server linked to the king's market. This gave them access to some private messages and logs. It was risky. If the king noticed, he would shut down everything. But the operation stayed hidden. Piece by piece, the cops collected details. A slip in grammar, a habit of logging in after midnight, even a favorite digital signature. The king's mask was cracking. The police were closer than ever, but the most dangerous move was still to come. The final blow came through a mix of luck and skill. One of the undercover cops convinced the king's top tech helper to trust him. With careful social engineering, pretending to be a friend, the cop received a piece of code meant for the king's own use. That code revealed a hidden pathway into the heart of the marketplace. At the same time, technical experts broke through one of the king's backup servers. They found an old password that the king had forgotten to change. That small mistake unlocked a treasure trove. Private chats, transaction records, and even a list of safe houses. Suddenly, police knew the king's real location. He was in a rented apartment in a quiet European city, living under a false name. The task force prepared for a quick, silent raid. The risk was huge. If the king even suspected, he could vanish forever. The operation was timed to the second. As the king logged into his marketplace, police stormed his apartment. They caught him with his laptop open, passwords typed in, and his empire exposed. The dark web king was finally unmasked. News of the arrest spread fast. The king's market vanished overnight, replaced by a police banner. Buyers and sellers around the world panicked, worried their secrets would be exposed. For years they believed the king was untouchable. Now, he was in handcuffs. Police revealed the king's true identity. A 32-year-old man with a quiet life and a hidden fortune. In his apartment, they found stacks of cash, fake passports, and hardware wallets holding millions in Bitcoin. The evidence was overwhelming. The king's double life was over. The arrest sent shockwaves across the dark web. Other market owners shut down their sites, fearing they were next. Some tried to erase all records, but the damage was done. The myth of the invincible king was shattered. For police, it was a victory won not with guns, but with brains and patience. They had tracked, tricked, and outsmarted one of the world's most wanted online criminals. The digital chase was over. But the battle against cybercrime had only just begun. The dark web king's trial was one of the most watched in cybercrime history. Journalists lined the courtroom, eager to see the man behind the mask. Prosecutors presented piles of digital evidence, transaction logs, chat messages, and seized Bitcoin wallets. The king's own words betrayed him. His defense argued that he was just running a website, not committing crimes himself. But the jury saw through it. They heard from undercover cops who had spoken with the king, seen how he managed illegal deals, and watched him pocket millions in fees. The verdict was clear, guilty on all major counts. The sentence was harsh. The king faced over 30 years in prison, plus the loss of his entire fortune. Police used the seized Bitcoin to fund more cyber investigations. The trial sent a message. Hiding behind a computer screen was no longer safe. For the dark web world, everything changed. Fear spread through online forums. Some markets disappeared overnight. Others scrambled to improve security. The age of the king was over, but the digital cat-and-mouse game continued. The fall of the dark web king means more than just one less criminal online. It proved that law enforcement is evolving. Police no longer chase criminals only in the streets. They chase them through lines of code, digital wallets, and hidden servers. The story shows that even the smartest cyber criminals can make mistakes. A forgotten password, a misplaced trust, a single moment of carelessness, these can bring down an empire. For police, patience and creativity paid off. They learned to think like hackers, to use undercover work and technical tricks in new ways. But the battle is far from over. The dark web is always changing. New markets appear as old ones fall. Criminals learn from each other, building stronger defenses. Law enforcement must keep learning too. The next king may be even smarter and harder to catch. In the end, the story of the dark web king is a warning and a hope. No one is truly invisible online. The tools of crime may be modern, but so are the tools of justice. The chase continues, behind screens, in shadows, and in the code that shapes our world.